That's the sweet sound of frigid air to help us make it through this Texas heat. But if you experience issues with your AC and are sweating inside of your own home, you need an honest and locally owned company to make those repairs. Now, I know of a place which is not only locally owned, but veteran owned too. Honest AC and Plumbing prides themselves on their handshakes and their quality of work. If you live in North Austin or in any of these northern suburbs of the ATX, give the boys at Honest a shout. Be sure to tell Floyd, Will, David, and the staff you're a loyal Stories Inside the Man Cave podcast viewer and follower.
Wake your ass up
or take a damn nap.
And we're the three best friends that anybody could have.
It's time.
Sean, you were twerking. That's going to happen.
Murph, don't be a dick all your life.
It's one of the more fun podcasts I've ever done.
Hey, I tell you what, if you're not talking about sports in the man cave, I bet not say you not a man.
That's it.
Now, this is a throwback to old school for me. This is, if you look back at your lives, each of you, wherever you may be in the great state of Texas or wherever you're watching or listening to this, there's people that are permanently put in your life for a reason, and you can pick back up even after probably a decade. And that's the case here with, I call him Ralph, but he's officially known as Raphael Thomas. And we date back to my days in the media when I was in East Texas, and great athlete, great person, great family, did it all the right way as a multi-sport star. And the reason why we're tying this into a podcast episode, because Texas high school football, and Ralph is taking over the reins of one of the story programs in the great state of Texas. Ralph, man, is that sum up how, certain people in our lives, we can just pick back up where we left off?
Oh, most definitely. And it's one of them deals where we never really lost communication.
No,
because you followed us through our senior year, even if you weren't there. You followed us through college, into adulthood, all the way up until now. Even when I went back and coached in Lufkin, I remember we came down to the 7-on-7 when they had it in Austin that year, right, that they didn't have it in College Station, and we met up there. So we've never really lost contact, and that's just the type of guy you've always been. You were loyal to us back then, and you were all about the Panthers, and you've remained that way.
Man, it's like a family, and it's that was a special time. When you were there, I believe your sophomore year was 06, 05.
My sophomore year was 05.
05, 06, 07.
Yes, sir.
07, I went to OKC, and so to paint the picture of what that was like, Lufkin, Texas is in the middle of East Texas, about 25 minutes to the south of Nacogdoches, 2 hours north of Houston. Football powerhouse. The late, great John Outlaw was the head coach. Great coaching staff, great people, and they loved and supported all of their sports in Lufkin, and they turned into be a family of mine, really, because I was at the ABC affiliate, KTRE, there in East Texas. So before we get this going with Ralph, it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll relive some memories and talk about this great accomplishment of his. This episode, 155, brought to you by our guy, Jim Saxton, State Farm Insurance Agency. I've told this story many times. I bought a new truck 3 months ago, and, you've got to have it fully insured. I called Jimmy. He texted his guy back at the office. I was insured fully within a half hour, had a digital proof of insurance to put in my Apple Wallet within a half hour. That's the kind of service that guy has. And it's not just for me, Ralph. You could call him, and he'd treat you just the same. No doubt.
I might have to give Jimmy a call.
No doubt about it. So, first of all, who is Ralph Thomas? Now, let's let Ralph. Who are you? I mean, if you were to sum up to somebody who really wanted to know who you are, maybe a job interview or where you're going right now to Houston, what would you say to them?
I'm a guy, based on what you see is what you get, per se. I'm very straightforward, I should say. I'm not a guy that tries to sugarcoat anything. I've always been that way. I'm a leader. I've always been in leadership positions, even before I even became the head coach. Most teams I've been on, I've been the leader on that team. Not always verbally, just leading by example, because that's basically what I believe in, is leading by example. I'm not a rah-rah type of guy. I'm a get the job done and let the results speak for themselves type of guy.
So, and he's very accurate on that. No doubt about it. Ralph, to give you a background of his, played at Lufkin, multi-sports, could have gone multiple ways with any sports. Pretty sharp guy, but knew how to talk to people, deal with people. That's part of being a leader, and animated too when he wanted to be. So he went to Oklahoma State. I covered Oklahoma State, played for Frank Anderson, I think, for a season when he was the head coach. Mm-hmm. Then you went to Texas Wesleyan. Is that briefly?
I played at Oklahoma State for 2 years and then went to Lubbock Christian for a year, and then finished up my last 2 years at Southern Arkansas.
And you were an All-American there at Southern Arkansas.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was.
Okay, because I remember when I was in OKC working at Fox 25 there, Oklahoma City University hosted the Sooner Athletic Conference tournament, and that's where we kind of had a little reunion.
Yeah,
I decided to hang out by the visitors' dugout that
for sure. I joke with people, that I was the transfer portal before it was even existed.
That is the truth, man.
I've seen it all, man.
Hey, Stillwater was a great place. I wish you could. You and I need to go up there to see that new O'Brate baseball stadium.
Definitely, Matt.
Oh my God!
Don't let my wife hear you say that, because she tells me that all the time. She's looking. She just wants a trip, but she's enticing me to go up there to visit Oklahoma State. So, but I'm going to get up there and see it.
Is she an Oklahoma State girl?
She went to Southern Arkansas.
Okay. So yeah, we're going to learn more about Ralph, probably more than most should know. But it's a great story. So Ralph has been an assistant coach at a few places in East Texas right now. I know that you went back to Lufkin, and right now you're currently in Longview, which happens to be the site where Lufkin's biggest rival is. But we want to show everybody what just happened, and we're going to tell you why this is such a big deal. Let me take this off right here. First of all, great photo. I got to find that shirt. Good combination there, but Ralph, you go first, because I have some things to add to that. When you think of Jack C. Yates High School, inner city Houston, when you think about that football program, I know you're younger than me, but you know about it. Mm-hmm. What can you tell the people about that program?
That program is a program where I don't even think people understand how rich the tradition is, because I was kind of naive to a certain point, because I'm young,
Right.
I'm still learning the history of it, but I know enough of it. But that program was the first inner city school in Houston to win a UIL state championship back in 1985, and have played for 3. And a lot of people gloss over that and have no idea. And it's so many alumni from Jack Yates around, not just Texas, but the world, that in the last 4 days have reached out. And man, it reminded me so much of Lufkin. It really did. Just a tradition rich place that is dying for someone to come in there and grab hold of it and say, okay, we're going to get this thing fixed. And somebody that's willing to sit underneath that fire and be able to be cool under pressure. And that's been me my entire life. I mean, I'm not concerned with the naysayers and whatever else is going on. I'm just there to try to make all the people associated with Jack Yates proud. That is my goal.
And I think people look, wow, he's young. Well, yeah, Ralph is young, but the guy is driven. And to add more to Yates High School, I mean, he was just recently named the head football coach and at a place that's rich in history. And that was his welcoming picture right there. And the next graphic is going to add to what Ralph just said. And we're going to talking about the history of it. Bear with me here because I want to bring this up. This is what Ralph was talking about. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. You go through the years about the history right there. And I'm going to remove that graphic. So before integration, there was the Prairie View Interscholastic League and UIL. I mean, in Lufkin, there's Dunbar High School. Ridiculous amount of history with PVIL. So they've played in, I think, 9 state championship games collectively and won 5 of them. And you mentioned the consecutive playoff appearances, that streak was broken in the modern era and within the last, I think, 10 or 15 years. 37 consecutive playoff appearances. I don't think people realize how hard that is, Ralph.
Yes. That is a feat that I don't even know you could name 40 places that have that. I just don't. That's something that takes consistency and like I said, you talk about the people with the tradition and the history and the former players, they take pride in that and they want to get back to those days. And like let me tap on what you said about he's young. Everybody think young, he's inexperienced, but what I tell people is, the president of the United States, he doesn't have any experience until he's the president of the United States.
Right.
So don't hold me to a standard that you don't even hold your own president to.
Well, the case of our president, we won't go political, but he's much older, and some of the political decisions based there have been a little questionable. But we're gonna give that the Heisman and go on about our business here on that. But
I promise you, I wasn't trying to get in. It was just an example.
Hey, I'm the one that brought it up. I'm responsible for that. I take full responsibility. Man, when you go down the list, because high school, you're enjoying a great time frame for all coaches right now, because in a few weeks, this will be full blast. They don't call them 2-a-days anymore, but I still do.
Right.
You're about to be commit your life in about 3 weeks to that all the way to December. What do you remember, or do you remember some of the names? Like, I know Johnny Bailey, John Roper are great for Texas A&M. The list of names, big time names you kind of alluded to, is about this long.
Yeah. Those names, I've been thrown so many names amongst meeting people, the history of the names, and it's all like coming in and going out, and I'm trying to process it all. So I don't want to butcher anybody's name or mess up anything. So I'm going to take your word on it and I'm going to give that the Heisman.
I love it, man. Let's just say Yates was the team of the decade in the 80s. And they were like the day in Dallas Carter they ran this state in high school football, except Yates carried on, Carter slipped off. But that kind of is where I want to kind of take the direction now. Austin Independent School District is dealing with it to a certain degree. Dallas is, but South Oak Cliff really made a statement this past year. Mm-hmm. Inner city, from what you know, big time inner city school districts, people have written them off because of what's the word I'm looking for? Not the money investment into programs and participation and morale has grown out to the suburbs.
Right.
So what it seems like.
Dealing with disadvantages.
Correct. And an organization I mentor inner city kids with, I've been exposed to some of those. And I'm an Austin ISD guy. And it's frustrating to see the level that they are now, because it's football. Their sports are not important. I want to ask you, you've seen a lot more from the coaching side than I probably ever will in my lifetime. What makes you think that you can turn that direction, the trajectory around for inner city football?
My big deal on that is, all these guys can leave and run to these suburb areas, and talk about the disadvantages. But I want to focus on the advantages, because you have kids that are in situations of poverty that they're trying to get out. So why not take that and let that fuel you into putting your all into something, especially with a guy who has the resources and help you get out of the situation that you're in, and bring people in and put you around them so that you can get out. Because at the end of the day, 45-pound weights weigh the same at Yates High School as they do at the big suburb school. The field is the same length, the balls are the same size, so forth and so on. So that has nothing to do with discipline, effort, developing character, so forth and so on. And those are the things that I spoke on day one on the job. And that's something that I know. I've been at those places that are one-horse towns that have all the resources and so forth and so on. And I know what it takes, and I've seen what that looks like, and I can bring some of that to the inner city, and that's what I want to do.
When you see the disadvantages, when people bring that up, and there's two parts to this, kind of the society we're in.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like, and this is just an observation, this may not be what you think, but I think everyone seems to just lean on a crutch a lot nowadays. Well, we don't have this. Well, I'm not capable of doing that because of this. Do you see that a lot in your industry with high school football?
I do. Everybody wants to talk about what, like I spoke on it, they want to talk about what they don't have and what they can't do instead of just putting the work in. Just put the work in, and I promise you will get results. If guys go into this situation and they're all in, because the mind is a powerful tool. If you put your mind to something, I promise you can accomplish it. And I don't know why people keep telling inner city kids that all they hear is they're disadvantaged. They don't have this, they don't have that. Like I said, let's quit talking about that and focus on what we do have. I don't care about hard. I don't. Let's find out how to deal with hard better than everybody else, because that's life. That's life.
Your coaching philosophy, and we'll talk about this great man later, but the late John Outlaw, how much of him, he was a head coach, I think, for 17 years at Lufkin High School. They won a state championship in 2001 and stayed relevant for a long time on the state level. I always hear people, young coaches, they take a little bit of that coach, this coach, wherever they were. But what part of him have you kept as part of your teaching young men to play this great game?
Dealing with kids. Like, Lufkin's not inner city, but I mean, we come from a small town where it has its disadvantages too, with resources, especially back then when we came through. But Coach Outlaw always taught us to do our best and to look into getting out of our situation. It never was really about football with him. It wasn't. It was always about life and go to school and get a degree. That's literally what he preached all the time. And for me, like I said, talking to inner city kids, that's something that I can take to them to where, okay, well, you can make it out. You can go to school. You can get school paid for without even having to play a sport. You can do that. I don't know why people keep telling you it's not possible, but you can do that.
So when you move, you're dealing with, I felt like when your generation finished college, I thought that there was an abrupt change in society, abrupt change in generation's mindset. And it's what I like to call the me generation. Now, I know social media is as an influence on that, but I see it more in athletics and young athletes. What is it? I mean, is it attention seeking? What is it? I've never understood that, because you see it a lot, specifically on Twitter.
Yeah, everybody wants to be told how great they are all day long. They do. And I'll sit here and it's easy for me to say, okay, I wouldn't have did it if I had it, but I wasn't there. My generation wasn't like that. We didn't have Twitter and all those things. But what I see as a coach is you see these guys are so worried about telling everybody what they're doing, when they're doing it, how they're doing it. Look at me. I want you to wine and dine me all the time just for me to say, okay, I'm interested in you. Like it's like dating all the time. Even me being in the inner city now, you hear stories, even on the high school level, is, kids, they jump from school to school. And it's like you make one of them mad, they just run off and go to the next school. And I just don't think it should be that way. But I feel like you said, social media has created this monster. It has. And it's something that I know at Yates, we're going to discuss often. Like we need to get that fixed. And I don't understand why guys sit around and make it about them. Because I didn't come from that. Lufkin, Texas, we were all about the team. Even if we had our ways, I'm not going to sit here and say guys didn't have selfish moments. But on Friday night, we played for each other. And we had tradition. That's another thing that I see that's an issue in inner city. These kids don't have loyalty to programs. Like we grew up wanting to be Lufkin Panthers. And that's all we wanted to do. And I don't see that like in the inner city a lot. It's like, okay, I want to go play football, but I really don't know where I want to play. Mm-hmm. So what coach is going to wow me the most? I'm going to just go over there to him. And if he makes me mad, I'm going to just go somewhere else.
So what do you do now? This is something that I've asked a lot of football coaching friends of mine. You've seen it. We saw it with IMG Academy. You see, I think the growth of private schools, great for them. But I'm starting to see it more and more, and maybe not so much in Houston or in East Texas, but I never thought I'd see the day that it would happen in Austin. I've seen it happen in Dallas, DFW, but the rise of the private schools, I'm not saying they caught up, but private schools in Texas on the level that they are now and recruitable kids and good high school football players. How do you combat that as you take over this behemoth of a football power?
Well, I can't provide the resources that they have. That's one big issue with those private schools. They have the money. They have the money. They have the resources. They basically can buy what they want. Like I said, I want to make Yates a place where it don't matter. Like I said, we're here to play ball, get an education, and get up out of here. And that's something that I'll preach daily. All that stuff is fluff. It's smoke and mirrors. It doesn't matter. It's all about what you do on that field and in the classroom. It boils down to that. But, parents and kids are wild by all this glitz and glamour, and nobody cares about that. On the next level, colleges, once they're done recruiting and all that, who cares? Can you play or can you not?
That's the key. And that's so what to educate the great people who watch this podcast. What are the rivalries now of Yates? The big games that mean a lot to the inner city of Houston, because you guys are the kings of the third ward, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. You have, I know the big one is Wheatley. Woo. Wheatley is the big one. That I heard about that in the interview. Like, what are we gonna do with Wheatley? That's enemy number one per se. You have Madison, you have Worthing, you have those teams. But ultimately, what it sounds like to me is everybody's a rival of Yates. It does. It sounds like everybody wants to beat Yates, and I embrace that challenge, and I'm with it. So I wish them the best, and my boys will be ready to play. It's that simple.
I don't have any doubt. I mean, you're going to hear about Ralph Thomas this season, if not this season, the following. He's built for this job, and it's mainly because of where he's from, Lufkin, Texas. I was just there, but you were deeply ingrained into that football program, athletics, baseball, and what are your favorite memories that have made you who you are? That made me memories of Lufkin that a lot of people may not understand.
Whew. I could start with just home with my mom. My mom was someone who taught us work ethic at a young age. You know, she didn't talk about it. She just did it.
Yeah.
A woman who worked 2-3 jobs at a time and never missed a game, like never missed one of my games. She'd tell her jobs, like, I can't go see my baby play. I'm not working here. But I've never seen her come home, complain, whine about anything. She is a lady that just got things done and just said, don't feel sorry for yourself because nobody else will feel sorry for you. So that was instilled in me at a young age. That's all I knew was work, really. And that trickled over to once I got to high school and middle school and started getting part of the football programs there in Lufkin. It was kind of the same way. That's kind of how Coach Outlaw and Quick and Coach Green, all those guys ran the program. Coach Early, it was work. Like, and you had a standard to live up to, and they were going to make you do it every day. It wasn't a do you feel like it today type of deal. It was you have something to protect daily, and you're going to get this work whether you like it or not. And I'm not here to be your friend. I'm going to love you up when we're done, but in the midst of it, I'm not here to be your friend. And that type of stuff stuck with me. It did. So those type of memories are something that I took on to college. And once I got to college and saw guys come from other high schools, and I'm like, okay, I get it. I get why they were that way. I get why they were that hard on us, because these dudes are behind. I already had a different mentality than most kids coming in from small town Oklahoma when I went to Oklahoma State. It was totally different. And I appreciate everything that Lufkin did for me. Lufkin's home. Lufkin made me who I am, good or bad. And that's something that I take with me for the rest of my life, is my hometown being the source that made me who I am.
That's love right there. That is pride. 100%. He's speaking the truth. I mean, I arrived there in September of 1999, left in 2006 to go to Oklahoma City. And I will say that, including Ralph and tons of people, I think you know a lot about a town by how many relationships you carry with you or are in touch. And that's the McNeils, the Todds, just all those coaches you had, Coach Randall, Foley, even living at Angelina College, just all them. We're all still connected. And there's a ton of people I'm leaving off. I mean, we're talking 100, Ralph, or more.
Yeah.
The great Tina Alexander. That's your cousin, right?
It is. It is. Her, Adam, Amber.
Yeah, the entire Sellers family.
Yeah.
Fine Americans.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm going to embarrass you a little bit, but it's a sponsor.
That's okay.
We got to show love to a certain sponsor, and it has its own segment. My man, I think we all know that I say this a lot. Our significant others in our lives, we should always be doing this for ourselves. But our significant others would prefer us not to resemble the German Black Forest below the belt. I'm just saying. And Manscaped.com, we have partnered with them. They've done a fabulous job of marketing their products, and they do it with humor. And they toe that line in the gray area a little bit because, in their own words, we love our balls. That's what they say. And I'm like, whoa, So, you know how we've all had to evolve since COVID, business, personally, everything. Well, these guys evolved quite a bit. I mean, look at this. The new the new package, the Ultra Smooth package.
Oh, yeah.
Shaving care for down there. And this is pretty cool, Ralph. It's a 4-step process. You got to get in the shower first. Then you scrub it, and it's a ball. Then you lube it up, and it's showtime. So it's a 3-step process. We've got the gentle exfoliant for your groin area. That's number one. You don't want anything to be painful, so you have the clear groin shaving gel. It's called the crop gel. I want to say this, and I've said it a couple times. This is the beautiful top of the line, next level razor. Size is not always everything. So all of you.
Hey, I'm all in.
Let's go, baby.
All in.
Manscaped.com. For all you Yates Lions, Lufkin Panthers, this is the shout out. Because you use that promo code. I'm uncoordinated right now. Man Cave 20 altogether, 20% off.
Let's get it.
So let's see who uses that promo code more, Yates Lions or Lufkin Panthers.
Let's see. Let's see.
I love competition.
Yes,
and
sir.
I know now Ralph of all people loves competition on every level imaginable. I know that. Competitive guy right here.
For sure.
We're gonna learn more about him, but my favorite part, usually the show, and I know this is ending the first segment. The Man Cave story, sponsored by our guy Jim Saxon, State Farm. If there's a story of your life, locker room, one about Des Bryant, maybe, or all those amazing teammates you had, or just a funny story that you tell about whenever you get together with your boys, is there one in particular?
Oh,
that can be shared.
Well, it's not funny, but it is. Is back in Lufkin, my sophomore year in baseball. We were playing in a playoff game, and we tell stories all the time. Some of them I can't share, but this one I can, and we still talk about this one within the football guys and the baseball guys, because it ended up being a combination of everybody, and I'll get to that. But we were playing Klein for the tiebreaker to see who got the last playoff spot in Kingwood back in 2005. And
like yesterday,
we're going back and forth all game, and it was a close ball game. I think it ended up being like 4-3, 3-2, something like that. But where this story took a turn was I played left field as a sophomore at the time, and they had bleachers out there for the student section, and we had some kids out there saying some things that they shouldn't have been saying based on skin color. And our center fielder hears it. And he tells me when we go out, and they were real protective of me because I was the baby on the team. We were mainly seniors, and I was the only sophomore. And he tells me, he's like, we go out there between innings, he's like, scoot back closer to the fence. Scoot back closer to the fence. And, he comes up from center field as we're warming up between innings. And he comes up and crow hops and fires one on a line. And he throws it high enough where he knows I can't get to it into the crowd. And it smokes some cat just right in the head. And I just play like I didn't know what happened. And, and
it's part of the game.
Yeah. And to wind the story up, man, is so tensions were high all game, and that happened, and we end up losing. We end up losing on a game-winning run. But, we're in there, and their guys are chirping after the game, and we're in our huddle. Coach Don Randell and Todd Foley are talking to us, and and somebody says the wrong thing. And a lot of these guys are seniors, so they're upset. Their career is over. And next thing I know, I see guys just get up, sprinting over towards their dugout. And I look up, it's an all-out brawl. We're in the dugout fighting. We've got guys in the student section, in the bleachers. My mom has an umbrella. She's running around with the tip of it that's metal, poking people. I mean, long story short, our coach ended up getting in trouble for that, but we got out. We might have lost the game, but we won the fight.
Oh my God. Oh, I'd forgotten about the part. I didn't know where you were going, but I forgot about that part.
Yes.
That's why I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, that day seems like yesterday. I did not know about that piece.
True story.
True story. That was not exaggerated. Let's just say, and I can say it, a little loosely used, racially motivated word.
Yes,
It's thrown around a little too often. And you know what? Sometimes you got to walk away, but in certain situations, there's repercussions.
And what I loved about it was our head coach. He said it after. Guys, I might get fired for this, but I'll never allow someone to disrespect one of my players that way. And to this day, that's my guy. That's my guy.
Love me some Don Randall. He's a great guy. My man, we're going to take on that. I got to call Randall, make sure he sees this. That'd be awesome. When we're going to take a quick break, but on the other side, we're going to get to know a little bit more about you, and we're going to talk some college football as well. I've got a certain highlight video of you that we chopped up. You'll love it. And just to give a clue of what people have missed in the mid-2000s. That's coming up on the other side of this break.
Yes, sir. Okay.
For all of your insurance needs, look no further than our primary sponsor, Jim Saxton State Farm Insurance Agency. The ATX OG has been insuring Austin for over 3 decades. And get this, Jim Saxton is a Longhorn legacy. He is the son of the late, great James Saxton, who was a Heisman finalist. Be sure to give him a call, or better yet, visit his website, saxtoninsurance.com, and tell him that the stories inside the Man Cave Boys recommended you. This is a segment where we get to know you a little more, and we know that you're going to be you are the new head football coach at Jack C. Yates High School in the 3rd Ward of the great city of Houston. One thing that I love when we get to people are older, age, and some people are not connected to the past, but true high school football fans who followed, especially East Texas, and people knew who obviously Des Bryant was, Reggie McNeil. There's a lot of guys that I bet you I could list 50 names, because you guys in your playoff games would play Central Texas teams like over there, Harker Heights, Cedar Park, Pflugerville. It was just really a fun time. And so a lot of people, coaches, especially high school football coaches, they know who you are. I want to show a highlight reel of you. What did everybody see there? I said you were Randy Mossing everybody back then.
Honestly, man, that was just something that just came natural. Honestly, that was just me. My objective every game was just go out and kill. You've mentioned it. I was the ultimate competitor. I wasn't very big in stature, but I played tall. I played big, and that's always been my thing. I always play with a chip on my shoulder. And what you see in those videos was what you get in everyday life for me. It's competition. I want to win at life every day.
That is a simple fact, and it was fun watching him play. I'm trying to remember who you reminded me of. There have been a lot of greats, the quick twitch, cut on a dime type athlete, but was the true team guy, and it really caught the attention of a lot of people. And obviously you caught the attention of recruiters. You found your home, so to speak, at Southern Arkansas.
And you know what? Interesting bit on that is you saw high school, and
Yeah.
I never got a football scholarship out of high school.
That's crazy. Why do you think that is?
My thing is I don't know if people were scared off by how big I was in baseball or what. I have no idea. I would love to have that answer too. But let's just say, if I went to school in today's times, and I had access to what these kids have access to, and I can promote myself, different ball game.
See, I don't have a problem with the promotion of oneself, but one thing I can't stand, and it's just an opinion. It's, for or against, that's fine. As everyone has their own opinion. That I can't stand whenever someone posts, "Hey, I received an offer from, or I visited with." So okay,
The part that for me is these young fellas, do you enjoy it? It's once in a lifetime opportunity, but when these guys commit to a school, and then you'll see they'll commit and they're solid to that school, but they're gonna take the rest of those visits because I gotta go get mine. I gotta go get these other visits. I mean, I'm going to do it just because that's just the cool thing to do.
It is, and but society has changed, and we mentioned that in the me generation. Now, I know you love talking ball at all levels, and I know now you're going to be on the other end now, where you're pushing kids out as a head coach to programs. Now, Big 12 football landscape is changing quickly in college athletics, but the Big 12 is still intact as we know it. It could have up to 16 members here pretty quick. But this graphic right here, so this is the one thing that I do miss, and that was going to Big 12 football media days, which is this next week. The media preseason poll came out. I am not a preseason poll guy, and I hate saying this now because now it's going to come out. In 17 years of being able to do this, I never submitted my poll. I never did it. So you've sent guys to programs like these. For the first time ever, Baylor is the preseason pick to win it all. Do you feel like that's accurate?
Man, that's credit to what they did last year. Baylor kind of owned the Big 12 in sports last year, not just football. The program, all the programs kind of owned the Big 12 last year. And I feel like, they came out on top at the end. So, and they have a lot coming back. So why not start them there this year? Because it's only fair. It's only fair.
They did great. And I think, of course, Texas and Sarkisian, I think an 8-win season, considering how they're going to have up to 40 new players on that roster because of what we're dealing with right now in transfer portal. And, people need to find where they belong. I won't go too deep on that because it is what it is. And, of course, NIL. For me, Kansas State is a sleeper. Have you seen the running back from this area named Deuce Vaughn?
I have.
What's your thought? He's kind of like you.
Yeah, and ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm on his team. I'm on his team like me. And Kansas State is always that scary team, sleeper type team that they can finish 10th or they can finish first. That's just been their thing, especially with the coach coming over from he came over from North Dakota State a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's building a brand there, and we had a guy from Lufkin there recently, Bronson Massey from Lufkin. So obviously I've kept up with Kansas State through him. And obviously I agree with that pick, but obviously, I'm going to be biased. I can't be too biased because these programs be recruiting my kids now. But I'm going to be loyal to my Cowboys, man.
Oh, that's you, baby. Hey, I got to ask you, you're a member of the Texas High School Coaches Association. Joey McGuire, Texas Tech. I think it's really good for these programs to go that direction. Do you see him struggling in year one, or do you think that he could surprise a lot of people?
I think he can surprise a lot of people because I think what he's doing there with the relationships that he's building, because that is a strong suit of a Texas high school football coach.
100%.
Relationship building. And you do that with kids, and they will run through a wall for you. And that's what he's doing at Texas Tech. And you see them everywhere. They are everywhere on the recruiting trail. And they're finding those diamonds in the rough. They're not going after all these 5-star guys. They're going to guys that fit their program. And that's a scary thing because when you get buy-in like that and coaches there preaching that, you could surprise a lot of people. So I wouldn't be shocked if they end up at the top of the standings.
It wouldn't shock me if they're in a bowl game because so many people are saying they're going to go have a 3 or 4-win team. I see a bowl game for Texas Tech.
Yeah,
but I'm with you. Joey McGuire is energy.
Yeah, yes. I would not write that guy off.
No, not at all. Real quick, you've seen it on being a high school football coach in this great state, and there's been seminars on it. Name, image, and likeness. It affects recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, how have you seen it change for your kids? And number two, it's a possibility. I don't think it'll happen. But how do you think NIL will be a part for? Will the UIL allow young men and women who are UIL sanctioned athletes to receive NIL? And I don't think a lot of people truly understand it. All it is being compensated a job for promoting a company's brand. That's pretty much what it is. It's all it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, we can start on that part because pretty much what happens in college usually trickles down. You know that. So it's coming. It's just a matter of when. It's just a matter of when. And with it, I'm fine with these guys because I was a college athlete.
Right.
The time that you put in, because everybody just says, well, these guys are getting these full ride scholarships. They're getting money. Like these athletes, you have no idea what they do on a day in and day out basis. I'm from 5 in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. They have something to do, from weights to finishing study hall. I mean, it's something all day long. It's more than a full-time job. And so I'm all for them getting money, but what it turns into now as where it's going to get regulated is the highest bidder is what it's turning into. And that's what it wasn't designed to do, but that's what it's turned into.
And I think the NCAA in whatever state they may become, we're the wild, wild west right now. It'll be regulated. They can't get it. It will forever be a part of the landscape now. It has to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be regulated to a form in which you can't outbid. I don't know what it'll look like, but that won't be a part of it. In my opinion.
I agree.
That's it's a fun time. So I know. So this is funny. So you're familiar with Garrett Wilson? Used to play at Lake Travis in Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
So he recently was on a certain podcast with some recognizable NFL names, and they asked him. This is absolutely hilarious. So you're familiar with the rookie dinner?
Yeah, I actually saw that episode.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was like the pivot, I think.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh my God! For those who haven't seen this, Ralph, I've laughed at least a dozen times. Let's go ahead and make it 13.
They did tell me about the dinner. I got to take all the receivers to a dinner. That's going to be cool. I'm excited for that.
It's not going to be cool. You know they're going to run that bill up like $75,000. Oh yeah, what you mean like the Louis the 13th you gonna have to buy at the restaurant?
Nah, they ain't doing me for $75K. I ain't gonna fake it.
Nah. It's the rookie dinner. It's all of y'all.
You the 10th pick of the draft too. They know you got 20 guaranteed.
Wait, what you say rookie dinner is?
He thinks it's his decision.
It was so cute. It was so cute.
It's so cute. Oh my God, you gotta love hazing.
Yeah, maybe it's a blessing I never made it to the NFL or professional sports because I don't know if I can come off for $75K for a dinner. I just don't.
Woo! I saw a graphic the other day. Rookie salary, what, $375?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you got people think, oh, you're instantly wealthy. Hold up. $375. You've got your agent fees. You have another players association fee,
mm-hmm.
and there's taxes.
Yes, sir.
So you're coming home with like 190, 180.
I know all about that because remember, I got drafted by the Dodgers out of high school.
That's right.
So, everybody heard, oh, yeah, he got drafted. Well, I didn't get the money you thought I got when MLB takes 40% immediately from that. Like, it's go to school.
And you made the best decision.
Yes, it worked out.
It worked out. Quick draw questions with Ralph. All right. We'll start from your number one. Quick draw question. Okay, your quick draw reference. Picture number on to the far right, that being your lovely better half.
Mm-hmm.
What's your quick response to that?
Rock. She is the foundation of our marriage. She has changed me for the better and taught me patience and sacrifice and I promise you I've become way more loving and understanding dealing with her. We won't put on this facade like everything's always great, but at the end of the day, it's perfect for us. That's my big takeaway with my wife, and I love her to death.
Beautiful, beautiful lady. I'm glad you guys compliment each other very well. Hopefully one day I get to meet the one who helped make you a better man. 'Cause it didn't take much. I mean, you're already a hell of a guy to begin with. And so now, quick draw question number 2. It's a young Des Bryant. What's your response to that?
Des had probably just scored about 8 touchdowns at State 7-on-7 tournament. I know that picture is from there for a fact. That's my guy, man. I'm so proud of what he has become based on where I saw him start. And I couldn't be more proud of what he's doing. He's still doing business things outside of football. And just trying to remain in that light to where he's helping athletes now. But man, that dude, if people understood, he needs to do a documentary too.
Yeah, he does. We should do it.
Yeah, get him on the pod, like understand his story and where he came from. People don't understand that dude overcame some things that a lot of people would have folded on and not been able. And now he had a lot of help, but he had to do the work and he had to make it happen. And now he's a Pro Bowler, going to be a Hall of Famer. He's a father. He's a businessman, and respect to you, man.
Tell you what, Ralph, I've never said this before, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it. So obviously humble. I don't usually spend this much time on this quick draw deal, but obviously we're talking about Lufkin, Texas, and you guys. I had a lot of favorites that came out of that football, just people I gravitated to, But you and Des in particular, and I know, and it's just funny how wherever we talk about how the world, the universe works, people continue to be a part of your life. You and Des, we go to Oklahoma. We all end up in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
What are the chances of that?
Right.
And I witnessed him firsthand, what he went through at Oklahoma, Stillwater, the words used by the media called handlers or whatnot.
Yeah.
A little inaccurate, a little
Right.
too elaborated. All right. The guy, and he's not an excuse maker. The guy came from a broken upbringing, and he still mended that relationship with his mom.
Yes. Yes.
It takes a man to do that.
Yeah.
If you notice on Ralph's lower third graphic here, it's that hashtag, girl dad. There wasn't enough room to say girl dad ×2, but I want to go right there to the bottom left.
Yeah.
How do you describe that?
Those are my babies, man. I am an unapologetic girl dad. I am. I tell people all the time, I had girls for a reason. I think God knew that's what I needed. Because I don't know a little boy I would be as nurturing and patient with little boys. And I'm telling you, I ended up with all girls. My wife, my 2 daughters, they all go hand in hand with making me a better human and making me be more patient and nurturing and understanding. And I love being a girl dad. I do. I tell my wife all the time, I am built to be a girl dad.
I love that so much, man. It sounds like Kobe Bryant,
Yes, sir.
Man, that's much respect for that. Last but certainly not least, the man in the upper left.
That's the legend. That's the legend, John Outlaw. That man is responsible for where a lot of us are today with what he instilled in us, and we all are forever grateful to him. God rest his soul, and we hope to make him proud daily. And I know me on my coaching journey, I'm going to implement a lot of things that I saw him do. And like I said, respect to him, respect to his family, and that's that.
Man, I love that. That was a very different person, and you've nailed everything about him to a T.
Hey y'all, Kevin Hutchison here with Realty Austin, and I am grateful to be a part of Stories Inside the Man Cave, a homegrown podcast just like my own business.
Hey man, tell me something good.
Ralph, we got to remove these pictures. I could stare at them all day and talk about them. I love hearing you talk about your girls and your past and your wife and everyone. I got to meet them all. But this segment was made to give you the background of this story of why we do Tell Me Something Good. This podcast was audio when we started it, and it was literally in March of 2020, the week the lockdown started. Literally. So fast forward from there to that summer. What went down that summer. It's nothing but negativity.
Yeah.
I've never seen people spew so much negativity in my life. People lost their minds. People that I thought were stable, I started recommending a psychotherapist or just some help. Prayed for them.
Right. Everyone became conspiracy theorists and doctors.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the truth.
Yeah.
It's so what we did is try to find something positive. There's something positive in every situation. So that's why I'm going to pass it to you. Tell me something good, my brother.
Man, what I will say is I've challenged the people, okay? And it's not negative, but what I will challenge people to do, we have expectations of others, okay? My big thing is what I preach to people and my players is what are you doing to live up the expectations that you set for others? Imagine how differently your life could be if you took the accountability that you hold others to.
I am so proud of you. And Texas High School Football Coaches Association now has a really amazing guy who now has his title as head football coach of a very storied football program in Houston. At Jack C. Yates, he now has another line on his resume, that being VIP alumni of Stories Inside the Man Cave podcast. And we appreciate you. And for the OG Man Cave boys, that being Hardball Hards, Big Mike, and Coach Mo, we are out.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up.